Ukraine filed a lawsuit against Russia with the UN International Court of Justice in January 2017. Ukraine argues that the Kremlin supports the illegal armed groups in Donbas and infringes on the rights and freedoms of the Crimean Tatars and ethnic Ukrainians in Crimea. It's a violation of two international conventions. Of course, Russia's violations are broader than what is covered by the conventions, but there are only several international agreements which allow disputing Russia's actions without the consent from Russia itself. Ukraine has been collecting evidence of Russia's violations in Crimea and Donbas since the start of Moscow's military intervention. In written form, the case spans 17,500 pages. The financing of structures in occupied territories is obvious. The evidence can be recognized as substantial. There are episodes where structures received money from Russia and carried out terrorist attacks in Donbas. For example, the case of the Kharkiv terrorists.
This lawsuit can be constantly updated with new facts. In March this year, 24 Crimean Tatars were arrested over 2 days. People are persecuted exclusively for their humanitarian activities, and they're not isolated facts.
In the spring of 2017, the United Nations International Court partially recognized the violation of the Convention on Discrimination and obliged Russia to renew the Crimean Tatar Mejlis and ensure that there is education in the Ukrainian language in Crimea. Russia did not comply with the decision, and a year later it filed an objection, arguing that Ukraine's lawsuit does not fall under the jurisdiction of the court, and the listed conventions are not applicable in the situation. Allegedly, the Convention on the Financing of Terrorism is not applicable in the East because the Russian state acts as a party to the conflict there. It's a very interesting situation when lawyers from the Russian side state in court what Russia denies at the political level.
Russia may say that it persecutes Crimean Tatars not on ethnic grounds, but for their political views. Yet it's a violation, but it's not subject to the listed convention. The Ukrainian side needs to prove that the persecution is aimed at a certain ethnic community, the indigenous people of Crimea.
Russia's objections delayed the consideration of the case for a year. A decision in favor of Ukraine would hit the Kremlin with new sanctions and restrictions. This decision is not for Russia, but for international partners. Other states will comply with this decision through economic pressure, certain restrictions in relations with the aggressor state, reduction of investment, cultural and business activity. Ukraine filed around 10 lawsuits against Russia with international legal institutions. Reported by Yevhenia Burda for UATV.